know, I feel like when it's a discussion video, I should be like leaned back somewhere on a couch or something. But anyway, welcome back to the Style and Beauty Doctor on YouTube. Oh, I feel mad unprofessional. So today's video, as you can tell by the title, I want to talk about some things, you know, because my last video on the Fenty bronzers, thank you so much for those of you who watched it, got a lot more views than is what's typically seen on videos here on this channel in such a short time frame. Because, you know, it's a hot topic, people want to know, yada yada. And, you know, nobody cursed me out in the comments, you know, praise God. But there were some comments, one in particular, and then a couple that kind of hinted towards what this one comment in particular said that made me decide, like, let's have a conversation. Let's maybe do a conversation kind of video on this. And I actually contemplated, like, you know what, my opinion changes sometimes, and sometimes pretty quickly when it comes to you know, certain things. So I was like, do I want to put this video up? Because, like, this could be an Insta story and then, like, it disappears in 24 hours. But I was like, let's put it on YouTube because the original video was on YouTube. So the comment was, let me pull it up. Fenty should be canceled with all caps, just like other brands that fail to include all, in all caps, shades of women. Now, I did not respond to this comment because, not because, like, I feel like, you know, this person's wrong or this person's right. I'm not fighting with nobody over a brand that don't, you know, clear a check in my name. You know what I'm saying? I don't clear the brand's checks. I'm not arguing. I'm not caping for any brand. Actually, let me not even say that. Well, let me say this. Like, the only brand that I will cape hard for is my own, you know? But does he or she have a point? Does he or she not have a point? So let's talk about it. So here are a couple of things. So I myself am one of Fenty Beauty's, I wouldn't say I'm one of the biggest fans because I don't own a lot of Fenty Beauty because, you know, I'm trying to stay minimalist with my makeup stash. So there are a lot of things from Fenty Beauty that I wouldn't need in my stash because I already have something like it. But I'm a fan of their marketing. I'm a fan of the way that they broke up things in the industry. The industry done shook up them. I'm sorry. I don't know. Don't cancel me though. But anyway, I'm a fan of the way Fenty disrupted the beauty industry and shook things up, and like all these other brands are jumping to compete with the inclusivity. I hope it stays. We have seen in the past where, like, can y'all believe that Almay had a line for women of color? Yes, Almay, the whitest of white makeup brands right now, had a line for women of color. I'll put it up in here so you don't think like I'm just pulling things out of the air. But I think that was since Beverly Peele was the spokesperson, I want to say that was in the early 90s, I'm guessing, when Almay had that line. Now we know Almay does not have that line anymore. And it's like, I have a video where we talked about, is inclusivity a trend? But, so I say all that to say, I myself was also disappointed in the bronzer launch. I was super excited, you know, as I typically am on a Fenty launch day. Super excited, got home, tried the bronzers. Some of you guys felt like you were watching The Emperor's New Clothing, where you're like, yo, I'm not seeing anything. I could see it more, you know, in person than what you guys were probably seeing on camera. There were some people, you know, hinting that maybe my camera's not, my lighting is bad, or that, you know, there are people that are darker than me that had the bronzer show up on them, and I watched those same videos and I didn't see anything, so I felt like I was watching The Emperor's New Clothing. So a couple of people were, you know, rightfully, I'm never going to say anyone's feelings are invalid, you know, because that's kind of like not cool. But people had some, you know, valid points when it came to the bronzer. And I think this is also aside from the fact that people, I don't think the people in this particular video, the people commented on my particular video, were people who were confusing bronzing with contouring. I didn't see a lot of that. And plus I have videos on the difference between bronzing and contouring, so check that out. I think it was a matter of, you know, it not giving the same effect. It's kind of, well, we'll talk about that in the future, about this bronzing having the same kind of effect on someone with darker skin that it does with someone with lighter skin. We'll talk about that later. Plus I ordered the Prime Beauty bronzers, the 2 deepest shades. So when those get here, I'll do a video to demo. If you can't wait, there are millions of people who have done videos on the Prime Beauty bronzers, so check those out as well. But I would hope you would subscribe here if this is your first time watching, and wait for me to do that video. Anyhow, so when it comes to this launch, there were a lot of people who were disappointed. Now, I would say that I was disappointed in the fact of it didn't look any different from items that I already used to bronze, the Mocha Mami. It was nice, but I have similar items. I have since returned both Coco Naughty, Mocha Mami, and that brush. So there were 2 brushes in the launch, and I thought the guy was selling me the hugging brush. And I didn't even realize that wasn't the hugging brush until like somebody commented like he sold you the wrong brush. But it was a bronzing brush. It just wasn't the cheek hugging one. Either way, I didn't need either brush because I have enough brushes here, you know, in my stash. So, is this something that we should cancel Fenty about though? Like, and because when I saw that comment, I was like, well, what do you want? Like, hypothetically. Well, maybe not hypothetically. I probably do want you to answer me. What do you look for in brands? In a brand? What would an all-inclusive makeup brand look like? Because I don't think that can exist. I have been wearing makeup since I was 22 years old, 21, 22 years old, maybe even a little bit before then, playing with like clear lip gloss at the Rite Aid and whatnot. But really wearing makeup, I've been wearing makeup since I was 22. I've seen a lot. I've been blogging since 2007. I've seen a lot of change in the industry. I've owned a lot of makeup. I once did makeup. I was a makeup artist back in the day. There is no such thing as an all-inclusive brand. Like, not, and it's funny, some of the brands that are geared, that specifically say that they're for women of color, even those aren't all-inclusive. Like, I find myself as somebody with dark brown skin with neutral undertones that can sometimes be a little more red when I tan in the summer, but not too red, you know? But as someone with neutral undertones and dark brown skin, a lot of the brands that are for women of color never had a shade match for me. I didn't have a shade match in Fashion Fair. I didn't have a shade match in Black Up. Those are 2 brands that, you know, department store brands that are made for women of color. Didn't have a shade match. They either ran too red or the one that was neutral was too deep. So I don't think, like, is this a cancelable offense? And I thought I would never see the day. Sorry, there's mascara on my desk and I'm like, I gotta clean it up. Watch my mascara video also, by the way. It's either already posted or it's gonna be posted. Is this a cancelable offense for Fenty Beauty? And it's just like, now within the beauty fandom, I do notice that there are certain cliques or groups of people when it comes to Fenty Beauty. There are those who feel that Fenty can do no wrong, that they will only buy Fenty Beauty things. They, like, you know, and these might be some people who are also in the Navy. There are those who, you know, probably like me, who love what the brand stands for, love how the brand shook things up, and, you know, genuinely enjoys, you know, a majority of the launches that come out, but doesn't maybe not own every single thing because, you know, there are things that I have that may work better, or I don't need, you know, I don't need 50 highlighters, I don't need 50 contour products, so, and I already have, you know? And then there are some people, because when I put the post up on my Instagram to promote my YouTube video, there were a couple of people who said that, like, yo, I've tried so many things from Fenty Beauty and they've all been a fail. The foundation is an oil, makes me look like an oil slick. And I don't like, you know, there are people like that who don't like anything. So I would say that I think there's some unrealistic expectations being placed on Fenty, because Fenty's a great brand. Definitely, you know, great when they came out with 40 Shades at one time, which some may even argue that, like, you know, okay, you can't really compare coming out with 40 Shades at one time in 2017, or did they come out in 2016? I think Fenty came out in 2017. You can't compare a brand in 2017 that came out with 40 Shades when they've had all the time to look at these other brands that had been around, and there were other brands who had 40 Shades already, like Cover FX, MAC, Makeup Forever, and a bunch of other brands. Like, for instance, for me, when Fenty first launched the 40 shades, I didn't have a shade match. Like, you know, I wanted to have a shade match. I didn't have a shade match. But I was like, all right, well, I'm glad for everyone else who does have a shade match. I don't have one, but I also have other foundations that match me, so it wasn't a huge deal to me. When they announced they were coming out with more shades, I got excited. You saw my video on the 445. But even the 445, like the 445 was a good match, but the formula is too matte for me when it's cold out. So it's probably something I would wear more in the summertime. So there's not, they only have the one matte foundation so far. So there's not a lot of options for like everyone. So they have the matte foundation. Who knows? They may come out with something with a dewy finish. Putting a few drops of oil does actually help to make the foundation less matte. I put a couple of drops of Drunk Elephant marula oil in the matte foundation, and it worked nicely for me in the cold weather. I have oily skin, but I live in New York. It gets super cold here, and you know, matte foundation in the wintertime is usually not like a great look. But yeah, so there's only but so much a brand can do. Like, what are your expectations of a super inclusive brand? And I don't even think that, like, while I was disappointed in the bronzer, because it didn't look much different from stuff that I already own. So yeah, I don't think something like bronzer, I don't know. You guys tell me. I don't think that not having, you know, the right shades in bronzer is a cancelable offense for Fenty. But I also do understand where people are coming from, where, you know, they wanted to try a bronzer from Fenty, and, you know, Mocha Mami, like, you know, like for instance, Nima Tang, you know, not Coco Naughty, what's it called again? Mocha Mami, didn't work that well on her. She, you know, it didn't show up as nicely as she wanted it to. I forgot what she said in her video, so make sure you check out her video so I'm not, like, you know, putting words in her mouth. And then there was the model, what is her name? But there's a gorgeous chocolate model that Fenty did. There were two gorgeous chocolate models. So there's one that they did a video tutorial with. Where's her name? Queen of Dark, Nakim, I think. Well, I'll link the video so you can see it. They did a demo on her, and you know, people are commenting that's not a bronzer, that's a blush. And then there's this picture here where you can see that it's showing up, the warmth in it. And yeah, you could do that with a blush. So are we canceling Fenty for this? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I'm really like, wow, like, we're canceling Fenty? Now, I know that's just one person who left that comment, but I did see a lot of comments, not only in my video, but on the Fenty Beauty Instagram account that were along the lines of that. So let's talk about it. I've done enough yapping. I need to go and, you know, carry on with the rest of my day. This was very impromptu. I'm going to go watch Little. I need groceries. I need to get back on my healthy eating, be zen. I need to start working out again and just be great, you know? And be nice in the comments. There's no need to fight anyone. There's no need to fight me. You know, just be nice and zen, okay? And follow me on social and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you later. Goodbye.